because cards is from collector script. I will only be sharing trading view because on a tar PC that actually works. You guys can see Solana chart right now and now the cards chart, right?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. And so right now, Fidgetals does not have a token yet, but they have a point system, they have a referral system, and those are the reasons why with Collector Script, I'm rather just buying their token right now, but I'm spinning on Fidgetals, so I have the upside momentum caught with Collector Script with the cards token, but I'm spinning the machines only on Fidgetals until they have their airdrop, and once I know how many points will generate the amount, like how many tokens I will get for the points that I'm generating from Fidgetals, then I will go over to spin on Collector Script and use Collector Script, because if you use Collector Script, obviously you are one of the people that make them benefit, right? Like those fees will make their price go up. But I'm telling you as it is, as long as I'm accumulating the token of a project, I refuse to use the project. Because and that's just me as a trader, okay? Because by the second that I am giving a project my volume and my fees, I support their price. But as an investor, you want the cheapest price as possible. So I always only start supporting a project with my usage once the bags are filled. Like people can say, oh, that's egoistic. Okay, but you are trading to make money. So if I would now be a power user helping drive the cards price to the upside, same as I never traded on Hyperliquid when I was accumulating the tokens. Why the fuck would I contribute to the buybacks and burns and the price going to the upside when my bag is not full? Once your bag is full, support it. But for now, I'm accumulating cards. I think it's one of the greatest assets on Solana. Like, I literally mean that because the revenue is clear. Cards is making more, or Collector Script is generating more real revenue, especially after the revenue they generate, the money the company makes, minus what they pay to their people, the salaries and everything. And we all know that Jupe like horribly overpaid the people, whereas Collector Script, like it's all also being shilled by a lot of big accounts. Necessarily, I do not think that this is something great, but you can see how clean this is trading, okay? Like if we're just like taking some, and this is basically what our dashboard is going to do. So you have the Coco Confluence indicator here, and you see that it's really accurately trading cards on the 30 minutes. On the other hand, you have to say, like, if you go to different timeframes, here it's also very accurate, but there are always timeframes that are just not as good. Okay. I would say like 17, like, why would you trade? Like, since you cannot short this token, I would never go to such a low time frame. But so one of the things that we're building is the software is detecting those clusters and is not giving you a signal for all of those. But like whenever there is like a cluster, then you have a clean sell cards, buy cards, sell cards, sell cards, buy cards, momentum, take profit again here, buy back here. Honestly, the signal was too early, but you would still receive that signal, right? So there's no reason to like this signal was not there. And then you buy here and here, so your average price would be somewhere here. And then you would get a notification after the third, fourth, fifth sell signal that here's a cluster. And then you have again like 20% upside, you sold. Here, let's say on this candle, then you would buy because you would never like this signal is printed in this candle. So you would only be able to buy here. So then you sold for an average of 18.5 after you had an average buy of 16.5. That's 10% upside. You reload at 18 cents. You have a take profit here. Like those are the things that make it worth, in my eyes, also to trade without leverage. And I think this is very cool because cards is one of the examples that is trading extremely, extremely clean. Yeah. If we compare that, let alone with Sol, yes, the cell signals, the cell cluster here, like also below the EMAs on top of the ATR bands, those were crystal clear. But honestly, buying this would simply, and it hit my stop loss. Yeah. I had a stop run here because I bought back here and Solana just surprised me with its weakness. And if you just check the Solana chart, okay, from the past week, and you compare it with the cards chart, okay, let me quickly change that here above each other to have a proper comparison. This is, and you remember, like you heard, you do not hear me speak positively about the coins that are built on a certain blockchain often, but here you do cards USDT. Let's use Blowfin. By the way, you can trade it also on Blowfin, which I'm using the most. But the point being is, okay, usually my rule of thumb is to use the L1 first for your analysis. It's our butter and bread, right? Like, firstly, I want to be able to nail Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin is a bit of a tough look right now, I'm just sticking with Bitcoin. Okay. And the rule is usually only if you are in control of trading Bitcoin, you go over to trading Solana and Ethereum. And whenever you have a coin that is being built on top of the L1, which is here Sol, you would only trade this if you are in control of like understanding, yeah, grasping what's happening with Sol. But what we have here is so crystal clear that you have like just from the same within the same time frame, okay? You have, wow, Solana is really getting towards the point of breaking down. But I want to quickly show you here from the 23rd. In this whole time frame, okay? Solana is now down 3.5%. And here you have the 23rd. Yes, I can also take the handle a little bit higher. Towards where we are in cards. In the last week, cards went up 40%. And Solana went down 3%, 4%. So what do we have here? Like, this is not only like me telling you, okay, cool, I like this asset because I think that Pokemon makes sense. It's so much bigger than that, right? It has all the franchises already. It has collectibles per se. It has all the cards. It has comic books, collectibles. Watch King has a few watches on those. Like, this is an asset that literally makes sense because this is one of the first times where you have crypto as a use case that is a true use case. Okay, why am I repeating that like this? Reasoning is, let's say as a person from Europe, you want, and it's vice versa. It's the same if you live in Asia, in Australia. So let's say you are in Europe right now, and you see a Pokemon Grail, and you're buying it. And I let also, by the way, also collector script. Like I use those shipping services. It's insured. It always arrived nicely. But when I opened the bill, I figured I have to pay additionally to the shipping an additional 20% when I received the package. Like when the mailman was inside of my house, he requested another 20%. Why? Because you have to pay a 20% EU import tax. So what crypto is solving here is that you can trade those cards on chain without having to import them into your continent, into your country, and ship them back. So let's say you have a Charizard for 20 grand and you import it from the US to the EU. Then you will pay $4,000 in taxes. If you now, so you lost a bunch, let's say the Charizard went back to 25K, you made a little bit of money, and you're selling that and your buyer is in California, then the buyer will also pay a tax for importing it. And so this is something huge, and this has nothing to do with this singular coin, okay? Like, yes, Cards is a good coin, and I'm just showing you it. Like, I recommended it over and over again. Don recommended it to you over and over again. We've been accumulating it for the last weeks and months, and it has outperformed Solana by over 100% while we are in a bear market, while Bitcoin is literally shitting the bed in the stream, like right in the second. The coins are going down, but Cards is just looking great, and I'm very certain that it's going to bounce off of this area again. It's even front running the golden pockets. So like, I hope that we can reload at 15, 16 cents again, in which case I would love to see something like this. $0.20 for sure. This is just a very tough level. Whenever we break this, I think we can literally go to like 30 cents or higher. For now, I think the biggest risk that we have is that we are simply just stuck in this bear market. But I think this is a very clean trade. I will copy and paste this into the aggregator real quick, so all of you also have it visually. So the TLDRs, I can see it go down 5 to 10%, in which case I would load up more with another target at 20 cents, so roughly 30% upside via spot. GM Pigeonhead, GM Hashirama, GM Kalitrim, and Anwar. Really nice to see so many of you tuning in. I'm only sharing the screen recording now in those streams with TradingView. Earlier, I usually did the whole Discord or like my whole screen, so you will not see when I post the stuff in the aggregator. So I will just read out loud what I'm typing. So all the communities have the charts. Best case Cards is going to retrace 5 to 10% before we run towards 20 cents plus, leading to a spot upside of 30% or more. And then again, if we jump to the Sol Cards chart, I think this really points out how weak Sol is actually in comparison the weakness of Solana, while Cards is completely unfazed of this due to them generating even more revenue than Jupiter. Yeah. Okay. It worked well. Yeah, Bitcoin is just plummeting. Potentially, we're going to see a local bottom soon. So I think we spoke enough about those altcoins. Bitcoin is right now going down. While it is probably, you can see that already, while it is like kind of about to print bullish divergence. Obviously, it will depend on like with those. It's always important. Are you using Heiken Ashi candles? Are you using full body candles? Yeah. Are you counting the wicks in the candles, or are you only counting the full candles? Right? Because if you are just counting the full candles, then we already have it. I usually for me, the logic is even if price only traded there for like a few seconds or for a minute, price was trading there. Okay. And I also do not think that something is correct or incorrect. Like I do not believe so much in just drawing lines anyways, but I don't think that it's correct just because you draw the cursor on your monitor a centimeter higher or lower. It's basically it's ballpark, okay? And this is about to form lower and lower, while the RSI and the oscillators were creeping up, which you can see here. Yes, I know that this, but this is like just the base tendency, okay? The oscillators are creeping upwards while price is creeping downwards. So there is a decent chance for us to print somewhat like a bullish divergence, and this is the reason why I'm actually like I'm honestly excited. Like even if my portfolio is going down, obviously all our portfolios are going down if the prices are going down, but this is what you want to see for a healthy market and also for a healthy market comeback, in my opinion. Um, what do I mean by that? Like basically what's happening finally is we're ripping the band-aid off. Also that saying with sell in May and walk away, I know that there are a lot of people that always think that they are far smarter than global market statistics. And if there were 9 or 8 out of 10 times is the official statistic, in 8 out of 10 cases, sell in May and walk away also does not mean the top must be in on the 20th of May, okay? Like what this basically means is that usually we have a top somewhat in summer, May, June, July, followed by a sell-off of a few weeks, a few months. People are on holiday mode. Also, do not underestimate people logging into crypto while their friends are like, or just people, family, children, wife, husband. It doesn't matter. Imagine the people. Why is this so true? Because people log into crypto, they try to leverage trade, they get stopped out. Okay, doesn't matter. Weather is getting nicer and nicer, 23, 25, 30 degrees. You, your friends are asking you, do you want to go on a holiday? You don't want to stay home. Obviously, like those are the reasons, and it's provenable. Volume is going down. Trading volume, betting volume, every volume is going down in summer. People tend to do holidays. People just look at the charts and they're like, oh, I wanted to sell Bitcoin at 75K. Fuck it. It's already down to 72K. Just fuck this shit. I have 2 Bitcoin. I will just sell half a Bitcoin and go on vacation. Boom. Selling pressure. Price goes down a little bit more. People trade less. The exchanges are doing less revenues. If exchanges and platforms are making less revenue, they are buying back less tokens. This is all just an accelerated move, and it's often leading to the nicest bull runs and bull markets. We had this also in 2017, 2018. Nothing about this is horrible because it literally just means for the $50,000 that you can invest, you can literally buy more coins. So I am right now exposed with like 40, 50% size of my longs. I would like to have price go down a little bit more. If we lose for good, like that 71K, 71K level, I'm out of the trade. I think this is a clean 2-to-1 setup. So between 71 and 73, you're buying, and the take profit would be somewhere between 74, 75, 76. For me, this is the only long trade that I see that I can recommend, because otherwise, and I will zoom out after I shared this chart, otherwise, I really think that we do have a problem. Opinions, guys? Let me know. GM Emilio. Vitalizing, do you have a different outlook? How's the DeFi space? What do you think? Like, do you share this opinion that it's right now like a chance for us to bounce, and otherwise we have a more problematic situation, or what's your take?
Yeah, pretty much in agreement with you. Just, I think there's a good chance we go lower at some point this year, printing like the actual bear market low. I don't know if we get a new low or if we kind of just chop around a bit more. I feel like there's kind of as good a chance to go, for Bitcoin to go to 90K as there is to go to 50K, because it's like 20K up or down, right? So I don't know about 50K. I think the 60K low might be good, but we'll see. I think either way, it's good to be prepared and kind of ready to buy the dips. I feel confident, buying up spot, and yeah, obviously with leverage trading, it's been wise to aggressively take profits these days, regardless of the direction you're trading in.
Yeah,
Feel good
interesting.
about DeFi as well. I think there's a chance we see some good stuff in the altcoin space. I feel like we're already seeing it with things like cards, and
Mm.
you have Zcash, and Hype is obviously doing very well. Hype actually overtook Solana in market cap, which is cool. Solana is no longer number three. So yeah, I mean, there's chances there. There's obviously like the AI narrative. You have the privacy
Is there
narrative.
excuse me, because you're just saying it, is there any good project that you could invest in or to get exposure if you are bullish on the AI narrative?
I feel like a lot of it is just vaporware. It's like kind of akin to meme coin trading for the most part, especially if it's on
Mm.
chain, right? Because I feel like on chain is still a little bit less like serious for in terms of projects and companies, unfortunately. So you're better off kind of buying, probably just continuing to buy the stocks that back the AI companies. Stuff like Nvidia and SanDisk, and I'm also looking at energy plays like nuclear wise, kind of as a long term 5 to 10 year DCA. So I'm buying things like uranium energy companies, buying uranium itself. I think that's a pretty good trade. The other thing I'm looking at on the equities side is peptides.
Mhm.
So it's good to have a decent peptide portfolio. I think that's going kind of crazy. You have retatrutide trials are kind of wrapping up, so that's going to hit the wider market pretty soon. I think it's a good idea to get exposed to that because Ozempic and Mounjaro have been so successful, and this is kind of like the successor to that. Yeah, I think I just feel more confident buying long-term assets right now, less confident about trading, or if I am trading memes and trading hype, I'm just being very aggressive and kind of getting in and getting out quick.
There a ticker for a peptide play where you're saying like, hey, that makes sense? We could
Uh,
chart.
yeah, so you have hymns is one.
Uh-huh. Hims. Hims and Hers Health listed on the nice. Okay. Let me pull up the daily. Oh, it was already far higher. This looks actually like an organic good play. Wait, let me get 3 day. Okay. Okay, it's not in a like what, because as you were speaking about it, I was not sure if I would face something similar like with semiconductors, hardware, right? Like, oh, by the way, this what Bitcoin here is doing, I don't want to jinx it, but this isn't horrible. Like, this really looks like because we have an extremely aggressive selling, it looks a little bit like the selling is being absorbed. Like, this is nothing horrible. Um, so just to compare with HIMS, like Intel, yeah. I was so fucking lucky, like just to be in the IT space, and like when I was talking to a friend or like a colleague at work who was like just extremely overexposed. Like some of you probably have their net worth like 60, 70, 80% of their net worth in crypto. There are a lot of people that have that in stocks, right? And when it was at 20 euro, when we had the Trump bullshit, like we always have that, but we had that situation like 1.5 years ago where Intel was trading at 20 euro and we bought. Like this has nothing to do with skill or so. It's just if you are in IT and you're always surrounded by AMD, Intel processors, uh, NVIDIA GeForce graphics cards, an MSI motherboard, um, like or Broadcom, then obviously you're just like, okay, then maybe I buy a little bit or SanDisk. This makes sense, right? And if you would now have told me, hey, here regarding the peptides, I've heard a lot about it. Um, like looking at Intel right now, you cannot invest in this right now. You cannot buy this after a 600% rally. Like obviously you can, whatever, but I wouldn't be excited about this, right? But now you're speaking about that, and I see a chart that has so many technical levels to trade on. It is not at an all-time high. It's not like IBM is not right now. Tencent is not. But Lenovo is just like I was like, hey, maybe I get some exposure to Lenovo, and then you check the Lenovo chart, and you just like, no, just no. I will not buy this that is up like as much as a shitcoin. Maybe like it's a stupid logic for some. Um, this is also fully okay, but this actually looks interesting and tradable for me. So it seems like it found the bottom. Do you just have any information as to why it moved from $70 down to 13 earlier?
I actually don't know. I haven't followed the hymns narrative specifically, but I know that they're one of the major players in providing peptides to the Western market. So
Uh-huh.
they operate in the US, they operate in, I think, in some places in Europe as well. A couple of other tickers are LLY, which is Eli Lilly. So they're like manufacturers, and you have ABCL, which is Abcelera Biologics. So those charts look a little bit different to HIMS.
ABCL. It's interesting. Like, thank you for bringing those up in particular because I have not looked into this. Like, I'm really stuck with this. Either like our top cryptos, collectibles, some privacy tokens, as well as everything that has to do stock-wise with hardware, infrastructure. So this is new, but I've heard so much about it. Okay, this I'm surprised how clean those charts are, bro. Like this is just a rounded bottom. Like this is an extremely clean rounded bottom. Like yes, you had your big sell off for sure, but this is extremely clean. Here you had the bottom of the recent sell off, so probably right now it is at an extremely interesting level. You see here that was the bottom of the sell off. Then here again, like from April 22, then from June 23 is also exactly the level where it got rejected twice, 3 times. And now it's here again. Like I'm just amazed by how clean those charts are, and no matter the narrative, yes or no, I think they are. It's extremely worth it. Like I will create a new category and put them in the watch list. Extremely clean charts. So thank you for that already. But if this narrative is going somewhere, then I think it should be no problem to like, right? Like let's just say technically Um, you have a move where you can reclaim this level, then you will have a full-on beautiful expansion, like just from the low to the high. Bounce off the golden pocket, expansion, like this is already 100% upside, right? And then you have a little bit of a cluster, obviously, from those levels here. But those are like clean setups. You would not want to lose that level anymore. So you can snipe a little bit of a better entry. Like just clean, interesting setups. Okay. Anything else of interest? Maybe also another, like either another stock or an overlooked, like, or for anyone, an overlooked hardware company, computing company. I think we all agree that Opus 4.8 is amazing. Otherwise, it was quite shocking that Arkham like literally revealed, what was it, 40% of, because on Zcash you have two ways of using Zcash, and one is just like the normal Zcash usage, and the other one is like the shielded transactions. And like the non-shielded transaction, I think 40% of all wallets just got like tied to like other chains and stuff, and the people basically got doxxed due to that by Arkham. I think it was yesterday. So there's a lot of crazy shit happening, and I tend to believe that it has to do something with how much stuff like Opus, Claude, ChatGPT is also accelerating, for the sole reason of you being able to like figure a method of how you could like search for data, and now you can just clip it into an agent that is not doing something super special. It's just like, there was also the take that I found very interesting. Like, there is no AI, like, not that this is like a take of mine, but I'm just saying, like, I found that sentence quite interesting. There is no AI right now. There is just software repeating what humans did. Like, right? It's just like a Googling on steroids. It's just literally a system that just has like a bit bigger ability to look for data and to repeat a certain task that you're giving it. Yeah, but basically we had that in computing already for 10, 20 years. But what you can figure is that the amount of like smaller data breaches or like GitHub code was revealed. Yeah. GitHub had a security vulnerability. Now you have something like Zcash, 40% of the wallets revealed. I think this is like extremely interesting where we are headed. So I think like stocks also like this, same as like collectibles in real life. I think the stuff that is not directly tied to the internet probably has the biggest chance of, at least, like, not that it's the best performance, but obviously those have the lowest chance of suffering from a breach, vulnerability, getting hacked, getting exposed. And so I think that is extremely interesting. And same as you just listed like your favorites, where I'm like, yes, uranium, great take, brother. Um, I'm also a huge copper fan. I even have like copper here, like at home, like some bars, and it's just a beam. Like when family and friends are here, that I just give them like a little half a kilo or a kilo copper. Not that it's worth a lot, but the message behind it, right? Like that people like really get people into buy precious metals, invest into energy, invest into stuff like uranium, electricity. But I think uranium is even better here, and stuff like copper and silver. Don't underestimate that the stuff must be built. The stuff must be built, and the stuff needs energy. So I was also reading today about a startup that is backed by Nvidia, that like, as we are doing mining, yeah, Monero mining, and we have a mining pool. AlphaBlock Monero.xyz. I think we're usually ranked like 30 globally, but what I want to say is, I don't think people will have their focus on mining anymore in the next months and years. But the startup that is backed by NVIDIA, as an example, literally allows you to put AI infrastructure to your house. So like it is the computing is by them and it can only be used for this. And then you can clip this tiny data center, right? Like it has the size of like 2, 3 computers maybe. And then you put this instead of your mining rig in your basement, on your house, whatever, plug it to your router for internet, plug it to your electricity, and then people can host those little data centers at home and then make a revenue. And the difference to mining is that for mining to be profitable, you have to hit a block. But with this AI stuff, and I have used some of that since we are mining Monero with XMR Monero with the CPU, and you can only use it like usually you only want to use AMD CPUs for the algorithm they are using. So you still have your graphics card free. And I started like mining with the CPU and then using the graphics card, not for graphics card mining, but to rent out the graphics card for AI companies so they can train their models there. And you can actually earn 30, 50 cents a day, okay, like depending on how much your electricity costs. This is an easy 20, 30 bucks per person per computer. And on the side, you have mining. So I think we could be moving towards a future where you're splitting that computing so that you have your mining on your CPU and that you use like a little AI infrastructure to use your electricity and computing power to help train the models and to earn money that way. And I think this is also a quite elegant way of making money. But then again, obviously, this is also directly again into AI, hardware, energy. So if this is being rolled out to the people, what does it mean? Yes, people can host it at home, but what are they using? Energy. What do they need for this? Electricity. How do you gain electricity? So I think those bets on electricity, like not necessarily on electricity, but the bet on energy, yeah, I think this will stay one of the best trades, and it just does not look as sexy as other investments. It's not like, oh yeah, cool, I invested into Hyperliquid at $13 and now it 5x. Energy might sound boring, but if you know that there is such a demand behind things and assets and companies like that, then I do believe that those assets are a great thing to put on your TradingView watch list and to consider long only trades. Not that you are long only on those, but if you know that there is such a big demand, like of course you can short hype here and there, yeah, but it has such an amazing buyback schedule that I think it's just a nicer asset to like long only. And I tend to believe that this bet also holds true for the energy plays.
Yeah, I'm super bullish on nuclear. I know Elon always talks about solar, but there's like very obvious problems with solar. You don't get a consistent output. You can only run it for half the day. Um, so nuclear is probably the way forward, and yeah, you can just buy uranium if that's your thesis. I like to do a little bit of digging and try and find some asymmetric bets as well. So I dropped a report earlier in my channel about small modular reactors, which is a way to convert like coal power stations into a nuclear power station. And so there are some companies doing this. There's some research there for you guys to read. I'll drop a link to it in this chat here as well. But yeah, I'd recommend like just have a like it's super interesting and fun to do this kind of research as well. You take a thesis, you take like an industry, you read up on it, you try and find okay, who are the experts on this? You try and find the real valuable information and then translate that into like a market play.
Oh, definitely.
And that's
Definitely,
where you
bro.
find yourself kind of you end up buying the thing before it's done like the 600% move.
Really interesting. With all those energy plays, you have like two options. Like not often are you able to like just have the commodity itself. Like yes, you can bet on the copper price or silver or whatever. But with energy, it's rather you have like two options. Correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously you cannot just buy electricity. Like it's either an ETF or something like a company. Like this is like what I charted right here. Oh wait, let me click escape. Here as an example, you have some random, like you would have to dig in because an ETF then means, okay, cool. They have different companies that they are invested in. So you would not have the singular risk that, let's say, for oil, if you want to bet on oil, you could also bet on Shell or on BP or, on like just oil companies or like gasoline station companies and stuff like that. But on the other hand, you would also have the opportunity to trade the ETFs. The problem is just that only so far with the RWAs and stuff in crypto, you are mostly able to trade either a commodity itself or a direct company, but we do not have ETF perps right now. But I think like just from an investment point of view, because also not everything that you do in life has to be on chain, even though that's nice to do. I think for such plays, an ETF could also be smart because if we look at this here, the Global X Uranium ETF listed on NICE, ARCA, in the past 13 months, it 4x'd. It's not bad. And that's an ETF that you can literally just buy if you have whatever. Like I have no recommendation for banks or so, but like literally your Revolut bank or so can allow you to like literally just physically buy the ETF. You pay your normal taxation on this when you sell it, but I think those things probably are not stupid. And as Vitalizing says, like you're building your thesis, right? Like, and you have the core principle. Maybe you write it down. Maybe you cultivate it in a one pager, literally in Word or something, yeah, and then print it out and have it physically on your table or put it on the wall and just remind yourself, like, hey, I have a thesis. I am bullish on energy. I am bullish on one or two privacy tokens. I am bullish on whatever, Hyperliquid. I want to farm those 2, 3 airdrops. Maybe I can find a nice uranium ETF. What is a good solar company? What is a good nuclear company? What is really worth it to invest into? And then like especially like reminding yourself of this thesis physically, I think is often better than just having like a digital reminder. Yeah, you will overlook this. But this is a big recommendation that I can give you, especially like for also something like my bear market targets that I posted where I said like, hey, I really believe that Solana will be below 60K. Bitcoin will trade somewhere in the 50K, 60Ks again, maybe, potentially. And just to remind yourself, because if you wrote it down and if you have a timestamp, then you will also have an easier time to find the bravery to buy when the time is right, okay? Because there was the time a few weeks ago, Google, because so many people believed, Google is, ChatGPT, like OpenAI is a company, Anthropic, they are all so much better than Google in the AI. And then Google was down 30%. But if you have your paper down at home in your office and it literally says, hey, whenever, and I have this rule, whenever an asset that I truly like, this is just my rule. If I have an asset that I truly like and it's down 2 digits in one day, I'm throwing a DCA at it. So that rule just says whenever, like I'm not buying Cloudflare just like this, but there was a day because Cloudflare let go of a lot of employees, and Cloudflare was down 24.9% in one day. It was, I think, in 3 weeks ago in the stream on Friday. So I'm buying a little bit Cloudflare. Yeah, and this is the beauty of like making that thesis and making that plan, because you will end up with your top 10 cryptos. You will end up with like your top 20 stocks. And a few commodities. So technically there is a pool of like 30, 40 assets that we are interested in, that we are bullish on long term. So why the fuck would I buy the Lenovo stock when the company just went up 20% today? Yesterday was the right day. Today you missed it. That's fine. You can wait until the next downside. Guys, Google went down 30% within a week or so. This is a buying opportunity, okay? And there will be Bitcoin, in my opinion, below 70K again. That means it's already 50,000 euro and like 45,000 pounds if you're in Great Britain. So those are prices where you can be like, hey, cool, I can allocate 10, 15K of my net worth, just buy a quarter Bitcoin and put it on my ledger. This is probably not a horrible choice given the fact that it always makes a new all-time high after some point. And I think this is really how we can and should treat this. And I will also share like, I think we should cultivate together like one really nice TradingView watch list of all the 30, 40 assets that we think is interesting. And usually if you follow this kind of tactic, let's quickly just go to, wait, my keyboard always falls asleep after a few minutes. Or let's check gold instead. So I marked out here in a chart long ago whenever gold had a day of like 5 or like 10% downside or more. And you can just see like those were the orange stripes. It was not a good time, or it is not the best time to buy gold, like an asset that is basically up only like gold or Bitcoin or oil, like on the long term, yeah, or really good semiconductor companies. Just a simple rule, whenever you bought on a minus 10% day, you literally ended up in huge profit a few weeks or months later. Like you can see this on every of those occasions. Here in that run up, that would literally have ruined you if you just bought gold up here. It's now down 20%. Like that hurts. It's hard to get out of this. Right now we had that huge sell-off, and from the bottom to the top we are sitting right now in the golden pocket of gold. And here I wrote it, gold seems like a worthy buy with a roughly 10% drawdown. Yeah, whenever you have this 10% drawdown, like you bought somewhere here, boom, profit. Nuked. You buy somewhere here, nice. That's a 10% upside, right? And so right now we're bouncing off of the golden pocket. So I believe that something that sounds like really not sexy and boring, but something like gold might be a nice pickup right now, aiming for like a 10% upside. And I think you can like really account it for all those great plays, for all those great stocks, commodities, and therefore, yeah, I think we should apply those trading rules rather than just being like, oh my God, the stock just went up 20%. I need to buy it. Oh, I'm sidelined. Hey, maybe you just missed a little bit of upside, but look at this watch list. There's so much opportunity in here. Gold, Google. The last thing that I want to say, like in the time that I just mentioned, when we had this 30% sell-off from Google, where we pointed out, okay, here is the golden pocket, the Fibonacci levels. Beautiful trade. And now I'm waiting for this area, like the recent highs, this area to be filled again. And until then, we're not buying more Google. Why would I do that? Yeah. And then from there, I'm quite certain that we have another 10, 20% upside. But there is no reason to chase anything here. You just wait. Google is down 10, 20%. Gold is down 10, 20%. This is when you buy. Yeah. Like build your thesis, as Vitalizing said, execute upon it, throw in 2-3 rules. Nothing here has to be complex. Do I really like this project, this company? Do I really stick with this? Do I believe in my own thesis? Do I have a thesis? Do I still have to create one? and then it's down, and you simply buy. But do not chase. I don't know. SpaceX IPO is around the corner. Probably some people will want to make others FOMO. Oh, you missed the IPO. It's up 500% already. Why would you buy $1 trillion asset in up only? There will also be some scandal and some shit at some point, minus 20%. Then invest into it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Ah, brother, you also have a take on SpaceX, right? Like, didn't you tell me something that you're like, hey, maybe this will take a lot of liquidity or so? You said something
Yeah.
incredibly smart
Yeah.
there.
Well, why are we like, we have to really acknowledge the words people use and how Wall Street, or like even just TradFi in general, has a bunch of terms that essentially make stuff sound more complex than it is. When in reality, like IPO to me just means private investors taking profit. Like, this is one of the biggest profit taking events of the years when we look at how much SpaceX was sold pre IPO to accredited investors, et cetera, or even just like hedge funds, early stage investors. SpaceX is what we consider a late stage tech company, like looking to IPO. So on June 12th, I think that's when the IPO is, right? You are going to see so many people thinking that they are the smart one, whether they are top blasting leverage positions on SpaceX or just buying SpaceX spot. Like, people are going to want a piece of this. They're going to want to be day one investor, et cetera, et cetera. Like, they will flood money and you will probably see a lot of assets being rotated. Um, you'll probably see a lot of money kind of like leaving crypto on this day too. Like, I think people will sell Bitcoin to invest into SpaceX. I think like you'll just kind of see that liquidity drain. And like honestly, like if you're asking me what my plan into June 12th would be, if there was a plan, like I'm not really, I don't think I'm looking to long stuff on June 12th. I think I would be looking to short like assets that people are like there'll be outflows of, because there will be aggressive outflows. Why wouldn't there be? This is like probably one of the most historic IPOs in the history of IPOs. Um, but I just don't think like the opportunity isn't there for like, eh, opportunities there long term. Opportunities there when, like Umba said, minus 20% candle, minus 30% candle, um, because Elon Musk pissed off the liberals or something. Like, this is a good time to buy. Or even like, I don't know, if you have employment, I guarantee you, if you are employed and you have like a 401k or benefits package, you will already be buying SpaceX without even knowing that you're buying SpaceX. So I don't think it's anything to get stressed over. I don't think it's anything to do any crazy moves. I don't think there's any obligation to do anything on June 12th other than maybe watch. And I just don't think like you have to go into it, with $10,000 loaded into a hyperliquid account, trying to find the deviation to long the cup and handle on SpaceX on the equity perps. This is why we own Hyperliquid. This is why we stay bullish on Hyperliquid, even in such a like terrible time for crypto in the market. Like, we can be bullish on Hyperliquid because Hyperliquid is the casino where all of these equity perps are being facilitated and where all of TradFi is coming. Like, I like the reason why I like Hyperliquid and I'm bullish on Hyperliquid for all this and facilitating the SpaceX pre-IPO is simply because like Hyperliquid uses the rails of crypto to empower equities and permissionless equities. Like, and that is the late stage evolution of where crypto was always meant to go when we look at like what we used to watch on YouTube. So like the fact that this is all going to take place on Hyperliquid really just makes me bullish on Hyperliquid. I think the assistance fund is going to go crazy. I think there'll be so much revenue on a triple front. I think there will be revenue coming from Hyperliquid's front end. I think there will be revenue coming from, this back end circle deal. So like you will see you'll see buy pressure coming from multiple different angles too on Hyperliquid. I'm not saying like Hyperliquid will candle up to 70 or candle down to 50 on June 12th on the IPO day, but I'm saying like, let's look at these metrics. Let's look at the KPIs and statistics that we're able to take from June 12th and then further validate our long-term bull thesis on Hyperliquid from that. I think that's the alpha.
Huge. Thank you so much for that. And you have been so incredibly consistent, like over the 4 years that we've known each other. Your ability to zoom in on stuff and just like be committed and be precise, because I remember the time when you were like, hey, now it's the time for me to log in not only a spot back, but like to really like get some Bitcoin, grow that pie, put it on a cold storage, do not gamble it away. Huge success. The point when you were like bullish on Hyperliquid and on chain, and this is on chain, on stream, and this is just what I want to stress. Like nothing about this is glorifying and stuff. Like I literally started the stream with saying like, yeah, here and there was my stop loss hit. Nothing about this is like us trying to be cool, but you literally told people like, same as me, where we're like, okay, Binance chain is cool, like the Binance Foundation, like what can be behind that is cool. But the BNB coin is not it anymore for now. It's literally like from the exchange tokens, it is hyper liquid. And the first time you called it, and like our streams here are always recorded, people can literally just click the YouTube link. You were bullish, 3x lower. And you told people like, hey, I don't want to just be bullshit talking or like talk anyone into obviously anything of this. Everything of this is NFA. We are all friends and business partners at the same time, just having a good time, taking an hour or two every Friday or second Friday speaking about this. But really hats off to you, because this is gold. And I also believe what you're saying, this is so true regarding the SpaceX investment with 401k, and obviously also like some of those just like ETFs that you invest into, that is also part often of like European salaries, like those packages, or the retirement packages. I think to some extent, like those investment companies are kind of forced to buy like the biggest market cap coins, not coins, the biggest market cap stocks and companies. And coins would also be true, because I just know like in Europe, if there are crypto related tokens, like crypto or token related investment baskets, that's what I wanted to say, is it's only the Bitcoin ETF. Maybe Ethereum, Solana is unheard of. If Hyperliquid is now top 3, if you are in Europe and you're exposed to some like European crypto ETF basket, they will just go by market cap. Like maybe you will have an exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum. If Hyperliquid stays above Solana, then it's those 3, and you will get exposure to this from your government investment packages. Exactly what you said, bro.
And sovereign wealth funds too. Like I mean, like I'd have to imagine like even Canada and Korea, South Korea. I'm gonna use South Korea for an example, because South Korea's sovereign wealth funds only invest in stuff that they deem like AAA plus plus. Like they buy MicroStrategy. They have a large position in MicroStrategy, and like even if we look at PerDat, like something like Per has already made its way into some form of a forced buy, quote unquote. But also just to tap on something else she said, I think like there was a moment with Hyperliquid where I remember it was very, very, very like low sentiment, and even I like had to take a second, and I said to myself, like, look, like everything there in order to validate the thesis was in the KPIs. So like it was not a speculative investment for me. It wasn't an investment that I was making on smoke and mirrors. It wasn't an investment I was making on what could happen. Everything with Hyperliquid was always, I'm investing in what is happening right now. and I'm investing in the actual underlying revenue. And one of the ways I compared it is like, no, you will not be receiving equity in Hyperliquid when you buy Hyperliquid tokens. But when you look at the mechanics of their Ergo flywheel, basically what happens is their mechanism creates a higher earnings per share, or if it were a stock, it would be a higher EPS just by the way their assistance fund works, buying back 99.6% of
Real.
the Hyperliquid. So if you were to look at Hyperliquid, like if MicroStrategy was structured with Hyperliquid, right? Everyone would be talking about MNAV, MNAV, MNAV. MNAV is
Hell
the
yeah.
underlying value on the asset to a stock. So, like, MicroStrategy doesn't have the best MNAV right now. They diluted themselves pretty hard at one point with the shareholders, and that's what STRC's main driver is to fix. So, when STRC is trading on par at $100, MicroStrategy is, buying Bitcoin without diluting MSTR shares. That's why STRC is the most important chart right now for Bitcoin maxis, because the better STRC does, the better earnings per share, or MNAV, MicroStrategy has in terms of their Bitcoin per share. And now we take those mechanics and now we look at Hyperliquid. We realize Hyperliquid, I want to put this in air quotes because this is where we start saying things where it's like, remember where we are, and also remember we're looking at an asset now that has 3x off the lows from when we first really started aggressively kicking up our buying. So, I don't want to say like, whoa, blah, get too bullish here, because I think like we're more likely
We are
to,
literally trading close to all-time highs, and yeah, as same as I like. It's great that you
like, I
give
don't
this
want to make
disclaimer.
anyone too
Yeah.
excited. I don't want to make anyone
Yes.
too excited. Like, some fuckery definitely could happen. But like, the math is mathing, and it just works. The flywheel works, and daily, as time progresses, that quote unquote, if it were an equity, earnings per share would only get more and more rich for the holder. And also, I wanted to actually talk about something else too, Umbas. I've been bringing it up in the chat, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted an opportunity to address it, because I feel like, anyone can say like the name of something, but it's like we see so many things. There's been so many instances in the past where someone has like tried to tell me about something or a new development on tech. And then, like, it's not even that I didn't want to hear them out. It's just that we never got to connect about it. And while we have everyone on stream, like, I just want to say, like, I own 3, and my entry was at 10.6 million. I'm not shilling you the project itself, but I'm shilling you the idea of where the next evolution of crypto can kind of be, and things to look for, and like in terms of the next meta, because there will be another meta. Like, and I don't think it's going to be meme coins at all. So obviously, Sector A was seeing if crypto works with your beta test coin. Sector B was seeing how programmable money works. And Sector 3 would now be, or Sector C would be, programmable liquidity. What is programmable liquidity? Programmable liquidity is something called V4 hooks. And V4 hooks are a super interesting way to look at programmable liquidity. And I think two projects that I think like you should all take your time to really look into yourselves. But I will tell you more about it also. But it is a little bit of a rabbit hole. Like, there is a project right now called UPEG, which is a new form of mining. Like, but it's more like rarity mining. It's a trading game, and
But it's not. It just. It's not using computing power to get exposure to like AI, like that. Like systems are like using your computing in reality for that. Like, or what do you
I think
mean? Like.
I think it is like more of an experimental asset when we look at, all right, so we look at the weakness on mainnet and we look at the overall terrible sentiment on Ethereum right now. But when I look at the Ethereum chart and Ethereum activity right now, all I see is, okay, I would rather be active on mainnet at the bottom rather than waiting for everything to, pop off and be there at the top. And UPEG is built on Uniswap's V4 hooks. And I think I
Okay,
forgot to mention that Uniswap is like the one who brought V4 hooks to the table. And
bro.
it's a new kind
Uniswap
of
is
on.
basically one of the core elements that brought DeFi to the table, and people just kinda tended to forget it. And I understand that some people were pissed that the Ethereum Foundation was selling off Ethereum tokens per se, but it has nothing to do with them being like the godfathers of smart contracts and all of that logic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's a new kind of on-chain object. It's like the way Unipeg works is if Umbas and me, if I buy one Unipeg token from Umbas, something interesting happens. If Anti buys a fractional token, right? He will just have that fractional Unipeg token. But now, if I buy a Unipeg token from Umbas, what happens immediately on chain? I buy one Unipeg. Umbas is selling that Unipeg. In that transaction, one NFT gets burned, one NFT gets created. And there's no IPFS storage with this NFT. It's not like there's off-chain storage or any off-chain elements or you know, NFTs have disappeared from OpenSea before because like they didn't renew the hosting services. But then when we look at like what V4 hooks could actually be, you understand that something like this creates a safer environment for DeFi. And then they let logic live at the point of the exchange, not wrapped around it. So fundamentally, you can take, if you have a Unipeg token, you can wrap it to an NFT, unwrap it back to the token, similar to stuff we've seen in the past, but you've actually never seen it be able to be wrapped and unwrapped and wrapped and unwrapped without like actually exchanging for the token. With this, you can go back and forth from token to on-chain object, and UPEG is a custom data structure inside a V4 compatible smart contract. So when we look at ways to secure DeFi and what DeFi, is kind of heading towards, even if it's not Unipeg, right? Like if you look into Unipeg, which I encourage you all to just read and do some research, look into the lore because it is a fun on-chain trading game. I wouldn't call it more than anything other than an on-chain trading game. But like you'll see like, okay, maybe if I don't want to buy Unipeg, but maybe I should pay attention to like how I could provide liquidity into the V4 hook pools and how I could be a true pioneer on V4 hook pools. Because when you're in a deep bear market like this and something like V4 hooks come along, the people who are early to V4 hooks are like the same people who were active on Ethereum when experimental assets like CryptoPunks came along. So while everyone is grave dancing, while everyone is saying mainnet is dead and all this stuff, one of the biggest developments in like how we interact with smart contracts ever in this industry is hitting a apex in their evolution. And V4 hooks are something that are only going to get bigger and are only going to become more relevant, and I think are going to really help us secure and have a better, safer DeFi environment. And again, like just to be transparent, I own 3 Unipegs at an average price of 10.6 million market cap. So I don't want you guys to think that like, I bought this at 400K and I'm like trying to show you the top of it. I think it's gonna be a volatile hell of a ride. Like I don't think it's something that goes straight up. But this is just something that I saw, read the GitHub, read the lore, read everything on the website, and then tried to buy it, and it was when I was trying to buy it and I couldn't figure out how to get the token to turn into the NFT that I got frustrated. And then I learned something because it wasn't working because I wasn't buying it from the right liquidity pool. And you have to buy it from the V4 pool only. I just realized something. If it was able to capture my attention and it made me want to play with this tech, turn my thing into the NFT to roll and see like what kind of attribute, it was an interesting thing that caught my attention, caught other notable collectors' attention. And I just think it's a truly novel Marvel asset that has kind of limited downside in terms of like sentiment already. Shit is already at 0 on mainnet. If mainnet's going to 0 from here, it is what it is. But there's more upside being active on mainnet than not. And it's a very low barrier to entry. Because even if you can't afford one whole unipeg, like if you have fractional UPEG, if you could, they're doing MPEGs, micro pegs, and like I know all of this sounds like really cringe and like stupid, but like I don't want to say trust me, I just want to say don't fade it because it sounds cringe and stupid, because you realize that cringe and stupid sometimes does work, and it works when sentiment is this low. Sorry for going on such a long tangent, but I've said it a few times, and I just want everyone to really look into it and take some time to read into it before writing it off. I do
Yes,
understand there are going to be people who do write it off because this is not an asset for everybody. This is a different
yes,
asset. It's new,
yes.
but I just want everyone to have the equal opportunity to read and learn and understand that even if it's not this asset, V4 hooks are super important.
Yeah, bro. No, I love. First things first, I love your disclaimers. I love that you take the time to tell people. And another thing is, it does not matter if this trade is going ballistic or not. And whenever someone is like, "Hey, like this sounds interesting," what the guys are or the gals are speaking about in the streams and stuff, but I don't know if I can throw so much money in it. You can literally invest like $1 or $10 and just see how does the asset move, how does this feel, how can I use this technology, right? Like same as back then, really back then with NFTs or with DeFi or now with this V4 investments. You can literally just throw in a couple of dollars. You do not have to be a hero or play cool in front of your friend. No one here is like tracking your wallets and whatever, because if this trade goes south, you would be happy that you did not throw in 10k. But what this is about is you being ready. Like often I had people being like, "Hey, I'm afraid to leverage trade," and I was like, "Hey, it's super fine because in the first 4 years in crypto, I only made money because of spot plays, right? Like I was lucky enough to be in crypto 2017. Some coins went up 80x. Why did they go up 80x? Because they did not have perps, because no one was able to short them. Yeah. And what you then had to do is you still make your trading account. And we have one really like proper legend. It's Nazgul from AlphaBlock, and he's trading size, but he was like, "Hey, I don't feel so comfortable like adding leverage." And so what he's doing is he's doing all those trades just with spot buy and sells, or when he's using leverage. I explained to him, "Hey, if you don't want to have the risk of being liquidated and you want to know how to learn, like how could you short Bitcoin? And then you can just use Bitcoin as collateral, right? You can buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and then short $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to learn how the mechanic of leverage shorting feels like. What is this? What is that?" And that's the same thing for what Aqua just told us. You can just use the protocol with a fresh wallet. It's something that I often recommend because I got drained 3 times in my life. Some people will say, "Oh yeah, you're stupid," whatever. Okay, guys, I have over 100 wallets. I used every blockchain and every DeFi protocol that I can ever remember, but I use different wallets. So worst case, I lost a few hundred or a few grand. And if your risk appetite is like, "Hey, this idea sounds interesting," what he just talked about, $10, just fund a new wallet send like whatever $10-20 worth of Ethereum. Transaction costs are like 80 cents right now, and you can get exposure and you can just learn what this is, so you are ready. Because the people that were like, oh no, I don't want NFTs, until the big NFT bull run was there, you don't even know how to get a whitelist spot, how to mint, what does it take, what is an echo, how can I resell Pokemon cards. Oh, all the Charizards went up 8x already. I can never buy it. That's fucking bullshit. Like, you can use your $25 on-chain liquidity and just spin a gacha. Like, I'm not saying like, okay, guys, please, disclaimer. Do not do gambling and anything. Wow, disclaimer. Do not just spin the gacha. But what I mean, there are packs for $10. You can just fund a wallet with $10, because what I think, what you just explained, is interesting. And we also must say, because we speak about it so like easily, yeah, you can just long, like I just did that on stream. Like, this is my 2-to-1 long setup. Okay, cool. It just played out while we were rambling. Obviously, what I mean is you can be a chat like Nazgul and just buy $50 of physical Bitcoin and sell it after a 2% move. It will not feel great, but you made $1, okay? And then you can scale it, because when the trade does not work out, you will lose the equivalent that we were speaking about. And this is something that I just want to say, because I think I never said this on any stream. Please, you do not have to be a hero. Just use it. Just like, it's super cool. Like, my grandmother is 88 years old and we can chat on WhatsApp. We can do FaceTime. I would never be able to do that with her if she would have just said, no, the internet and those apps are not for me. Yeah. And I think it's literally the same with crypto. Some people are like, oh, yeah, but Bitcoin, when I first saw Bitcoin, it was at $500. I will not buy Bitcoin at 60K. Okay, treat yourself. But this is
Yeah,
the only
yo,
way to understand this, right? Like, I was
yeah,
also, I did not get the Hyperliquid airdrop. I made my money with Hyperliquid by trading it to the upside. I could have just, I was literally mad at myself. It was like, why the fuck? Like, we were working with so many great exchanges, and like, why the fuck didn't I do this? But I farmed Avantis. I'm farming a variational. I got a big Jupiter airdrop. I got the Bonk airdrop. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But just because you missed out on the initial, you can still get exposure. And if you're afraid to lose money, just use $10. Just I don't know, go to the store, and you see, like, you do not even have to open Pokemon packs. Just go to the store, and if the vibe is good, you can just ask the owner, do you maybe have like a cards that are like really old and just worth a few bucks? So, and like, then you have a binder and just sort them, and you figure like, no, I fucking hate this shit. Then don't do it. Same as with the idea you just voiced. If you hate it, don't do it. And if you do not like the leverage trades in the stream or the setups, hey, we just spoke about stocks. We just spoke about the possibility you can just own zero 0.1 Ethereum, and then you cannot get liquidated, and your money can go down, whatever. But I'm just saying whatever, because you can choose to just invest $10 and just learn. Because I think that Aqua and me like had this very often, that we sometimes started shared wallets and stuff, and then we were like, yeah, we just throw in like $50 each, right? Like, the stuff that we did, and then we rolled it up into 4 digits, and you were like, wait, so if I can roll a few $100 and a few grand, hey, maybe I don't need to throw in a few grand. Then maybe if your thing is that you feel so confident with rolling $200-300 over the course of a few months into a grand, then maybe this is your calling. Like, in this, like, you can get exposure without having sleepless nights, without having a headache, and this can just be fun this way. Like, I just wanted to say that, especially in the bear market, the market is on a hard mode. Please do not feel depressed because some trades did not work out. I had the last 2 days, I did not make money. My longs were underwater. The only thing that saved me was the risk management, that I told you guys. I'm now 30% in my long, 50%. In stream, I added more. Now I got out in profit. I still have like 30-40% rolling in profits. It's cool. if I would have just invested everything 2 days ago, I would be in another situation. But I think like our risk appetite is different. Yeah, because just the numbers that we sometimes share, or like Aqua shared with me, like I know that for some people this is like the goal. To get to your goal, you can start with as little as $10 a month.
Yo. I would, first off, Chad, very Chad. Would it be okay if I shared my screen and showed the Unipeg app so people could understand?
Yeah, let's do that as the last thing in the stream. I will quit my sharing. We go over to you, and then we call it a day. Okay, Sage is open for you. Well, it's so cool.
Sweet.
I now just see like we have like 15 people actively in here, plus X plus YouTube recordings. Like this is really cool.
Just trying to remember how to share my screen. Give me 1 second.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, bro, what's up?
Yeah, you can. Hey, thanks for the shout out. I just wanted to mention that over this afternoon, I did check some tutorial videos on YouTube how to do futures in Bluefin, on Bluefin. I did made, I think, 60 cents on one trade up, and then I lost $1 on the way down. Or I think I longed and then I shorted. I don't know now which one. Um, and yeah, it was a different experience. I really think, like you mentioned, I mean, spot is just more comfortable, and I think it's really important that people just feel comfortable doing what they're doing. And if you want to risk, we all take a step out of on deeper waters every once in a while. Just make sure you don't um, go over confidently. I mean, I guess I tried this futures trading for a bit. Maybe I'll try it again once the market is a bit more defined, or I can understand from your inputs that it's more straightforward. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that in line to what you were saying. There are no heroes, and these steps are usually the long-term safe bet that ensures survivability. That's it.
Hell
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
Chad, man.
Can you see my screen? Hello?
Let me check. It is loading. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Unipeg.
So basically, right now, what we see is you. I know it is like corny, but you see the two pictures of the horses and the 0.15.
Yes. Yeah.
So now I'm gonna actually just click home on this wallet because I just this is the best way to explain it by showing. So like, if we look here, right, you see I have tokens. The token one UPEG is trading at $1,550, and like you see, it is a normal Ethereum token. But how come when I'm here, right? This is my wallet. You could look up any UPEG. So we'll go here again. Look up any UPEG. We paste this, boom, right here. Now you see where it says wrap to NFT? Like I click this and I can wrap it. I'm not going to wrap it right now, but you can wrap it. And then you have an NFT in your wallet. And then let's say after you wrap it, you want to unwrap it. Like you see where it says my UPEGs, wrap to NFT, wrap to NFT. Like if you wrap them to the. All right, one last thing. If I want to sell my UPEG, right? I literally just click sell and I could sell the UPEG. But if you have the NFT, right, you actually are selling that on OpenSea if you have it as the NFT. So if I click wrap to NFT, it would come off of like, it would no longer be the token. You'd lose the token and the NFT would be in your wallet. But if you click here and there was the NFT here, you could unwrap it and then you would get it back as the UPEG token. It's really cool. And then obviously, like the NFT, you get it in your collectibles section of your wallet, wherever that is. So this is really cool shit. And then also, when we look over here, we look at this. This is the Peg to Peg app. This is literally a peer-to-peer marketplace for Unipegs. But what's interesting here, right, is if you're buying the Unipeg from here, you're actually buying the token. You're not buying like the wrapped NFT. Okay? So
Aha! The
if I
NFT is a wrapper for the token. So you're trading
yeah,
tokens by trading the NFTs.
yes.
Ah!
Because
How
now,
about
but
you give me one?
now look at this, man. Look at this. If you go on OpenSea and I were to buy one of these NFTs, I'm buying the like wrapped NFT. Like this would go into the collectibles section of my wallet. And if I were to buy one of these, I would buy it and get it as the token. Now, instead of the only reason people are buying like specific Unipegs and shit, sorry for my language, but like the only reason there are people who are paying more money for a Unipeg is because like there is a trading game aspect to it and rarity is a thing. And like that is the speculative side of things. If I were to, want to enter Unipeg and I were to want to buy a Unipeg, what I would do is I would go to here. I would go to the swap and it'll take you to Uniswap. But what you would have to do is you open this up, trade options, default, you turn this off. Now, what happens is if I were to do this, all this right here, and leave all these on, and I were to try to go ETH to Unipeg and buy one Unipeg, you wouldn't buy, you would get the Unipeg, but you would get like 0.3 Unipeg, 0.4 Unipeg. It would stagger your buys, and you wouldn't be buying one Unipeg all at once. In order for the V4 hook to trigger, you would want to buy one Unipeg all at once. So you actually need to turn this off and you need to be buying from the V4 hook pool. That's the alpha on how to actually get the Unipeg because some people own Unipeg but can't find their image or whatever or participate in it. And it's because they have to buy through the V4 hook pool. It's really awesome. And then if you have, you know, 0.1 Unipeg or like 0.3 Unipeg, the team has already confirmed it. It's already been confirmed. Like there are MPEGs coming. And then also the last thing I'll say, UPEG is like Unipeg, JPEG. So there's all these documents you could read too. This is very, very like cypherpunk coded. It's really, really cool stuff. It's just fun. Like I said, I can't really like I'm not saying this is a hyperliquid type of trade where we're buying every dip and everything, but I have exposure. It's cool. It's
This is interesting.
literally it's literally something that I think like the upside is there and it's going to be important. And the same way Umbas was able to actually say it in a much more condensed way. The NFT could be a wrapper for the token and like people are trading NFTs on that peg to peg app without actually having the NFTs. Like it's so confusing. Like it's still
Yeah,
something I'm
yeah.
learning. And then like, okay, yeah. But one thing I will say too is like, if I wrap the NFT, like, and then I was like, okay, like, I was before I realized I could unwrap it, dude. I thought I fucked up. I thought I made a huge mistake because I um wrapped the
So
NFT and I thought that I was stuck with it and I had to sell it on OpenSea and volume was low. So I was like, damn, dude, like I screwed myself over. And then when, bro, when I unwrapped the NFT back to the token, that is when I went on a side wallet, bought one, and then bought another one. Like that is when I just bought two more immediately. Like, and I really want to get more
okay,
MPEGs too. Like once I
this is
interacted with it, I was
interesting.
like, holy shit.
This is
This
opening
isn't
like slowly, like sorry to interrupt, but this is opening like slowly this logic that we had on Kronos chain was like really a thing for some time and probably one of my biggest money makers in my life with like mad meerkats and stuff. Do not buy them now. Um, they had their tokens and they had NFTs, and then like this is literally opening the gap like for the next, especially for the next bull market, that you can have like a DeFi farm, and if you stake your NFT on top of your farm, you get some extra yield, and you can accumulate the tokens, and then it can morph together into one NFT, and you like it's closing the bridge. It's literally closing the bridge between the assets, and I think that can be extremely intelligent. Like I'm
bro.
really amazed just by the fact it does not matter if it goes up
It's
or down. I'm
programmable
amazed by the fact,
liquidity.
yes, it's programmable liquidity. Like this is cool just to see something new, especially in a bear market. It's just cool to see this, and I think it's
You're gonna
smart
buy
to just,
five. I
yeah,
know you. You're gonna buy. You're gonna go buy five
yes,
immediately.
it's so bad. I will
Like,
literally go with my mom and with a friend to the wineries and have some drinks, and I will literally be sitting
like
there and be
you're
like,
gonna
"There,
feel
fuck it."
nostalgia, bro. You're gonna feel nostalgia because like there
Yes.
are there are other sites that there are other websites people made that are like basically remember like you'd get an NFT and like you and me would freak out trying to check the rarity of it.
Bro, those were
Like
such good.
yo,
This
the
is the time where we became like real friends, where we figured like, no way, like this is not only betting on up or down, like this is like disclaimer, yes, this triggers the nostalgia. This is just like, okay, there's some cool shit happening in crypto, and people, whenever prices go down, like whenever Bitcoin goes down for some time, people are like, yeah, crypto is just a casino. It doesn't fucking matter. If you are aware of this and if you see the tech behind it, it can be fun. I'm just saying, like, this is cool. Thank you for also like really giving us the tutorial, because I have to be honest, you have been showing this when the token price was like lower, and that's what I'm saying. It does not matter if I could have bought earlier or later, or if this is the top. I'm being honest. You sitting there and taking your time to like giving us the rundown really helped me, and I think also others. Maybe at some point you will be able to like short this stuff and whatever if you just want to be a doomer, and there's no judging in that. But if I wouldn't have seen it from that like you, um, I would just have ignored it. I'm really honest, and I think this is really cool about those things. Like someone like just stepping up, showing something, taking the time, and then we can all just sit there, uh, come to our own conclusions. Hashirama just showed the chart. It actually looks good. Um, but then again, you do not have to buy the whole NFT for $1.7 thousand. You can just buy the tokens, and if I understood correctly, if I am able to DCA into enough tokens, then I can also swap it into an NFT and then list it.
that's where the tech is like, okay, let's say, bro, if you bought point 0.1, point 0.3, point 0.4, like all at different times, all from different liquidity pools, then no. The only
Uh-huh.
way it works is if you have like actual V4 hook tokens. So like what I had to do the first time I had one whole unipeg, bro, Like I sold it like 4 times because I couldn't figure out how to fucking get it. But then, bro, I was like, wow, I'm spending so much time getting raped on fees and like really putting a lot of energy into figuring this out. And it made me bullish because like, bro, people will buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell into the liquidity pool, bro, just because they want to roll a rare like Unipeg. So, bro, every time you buy a token, you're minting an NFT. Like, and it's a new NFT every time. If I buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell in that V4 hook pool, every time there's a transaction, there's an inscription. And bro, if I sell the NFT back into the pool rather than on the peer to peer marketplace, the NFT fucking burns. Like, and these are all inscriptions. They're not being hosted anywhere. It's really cool, dude. Like, it's insane. They're also again like I'm trying to find the resources. There's like a Pegasus app. There's a trading card game coming. Like I know this is like oh my god, shut up, it's cringe. But like the whole thing, the way crypto operates when we're transitioning from bear markets to bull markets is new trading games and new styles of trading games. Sorry, I just said that twice. Emerge in the bear market. If you are participating in the bear market, you have a unique opportunity to be on the ground floor for the formation of all of those trading games. So that's why I said it's such an experimental asset. And I understand it's almost laughable when I say, like, this is the same environment that CryptoPunks were born in. But I say that because, like, NFTs, when we first heard about NFTs, we were like, what fucking motherfucker is sitting in his house all day minting CryptoPunks? Like, how do you even know what that is? And it was just because they were present, saw an experimental asset, and had an open mind. Am I saying Unipeg is the next CryptoPunk? No, I'm not stupid. But what I am saying is that it carries that provenance as the first V4 hook collection to do this. So no matter what happens in the terms of V4 Hook's evolution, which it will evolve, it will play a significant role in DeFi as programmable liquidity. Unipeg will be positioned as a digital trophy to have. It's a digital trophy. Having Unipeg will be a digital trophy. And also it will be its own like it's its own first asset. They made the asset. Like this is the only asset in crypto right now that every time you buy and sell it, there's an inscription. It's huge.
Dudes will see this and say, hell yeah. Thank you so much for the alpha. Thank you so much for tuning in, for speaking up. I think this is a record in the whole bear market. We didn't speak 1 or 1.5 hours. We were here for 2 hours and we still have like close to 20 people, over 20 people from our discourse on such a hot day. We spoke about it in the beginning, tuned in. I hope and I think that this 4 p.m. Central European Central Time is the right thing to do. We would be able to change it in the future. Extreme respect for especially for the legends from America, obviously from all the time zones, but Aqua tuned in at 10 a.m. Like he still has a whole business day in front of him. Every one of you is a legend. I think we're doing great here. Just having this consistency. We're averaging now 3 streams per month. I think it's a great fun, those opportunities, seeing the chat being so fired up besides that stream. It's amazing. Thank you so much. If everyone has something, or if anyone has something to add, please do so. Otherwise, I would wrap it up. Join my mother in the garden. Spent the last day she's in my country with her. And she was also part of the stream. So shout out to all of you. She saw your PFPs, your names. She saw a little bit of your content. She's very proud of what we're building, and I think that also means not something, but that means a lot. And I hope to see you next week. If you still have something to add, please do so. I will be around for a few more minutes. But otherwise, I think that was an extremely goated stream. Thank you, Don and Rodri, for recording this. Don is always like taking the time, also with others, like to not only record, to check like is the sound okay? Can we upload the whole thing on YouTube? Rodri is now starting to like use content highlights of AlphaBlock, HWMF, of Infinite to upload it, show people the tools. If you have a tool that you want to build with us, you can earn up to 50% profit share with us. If you have your own tool that you just want to like have included in our software platform, you will eat 90% of that share. AlphaBlock infrastructure will just take 10% to maintain the tokens as like more users does not only scale like our income, but also our costs. And just to say it, like between us, I or we from AlphaBlock are investing $2,000 every month to keep infrastructure, AI infrastructure, AI subscriptions, AI seats, payments to our contributors alive. So we have 25K base cost to keep all of this running. As you saw, we are never even mentioning like the projects that we are affiliated with, because we want to be able to say all the words that we're using, fall language, whatever, because this is the homies chilling. So appreciate any single one of you supporting any of our projects to literally keep this alive. We still have runway for the next 2.5 years. So we will not go anywhere. But depending on what we're doing throughout the bear market and into 2028 halving, this will determine if we will have the runway for the next 5 or 10 years. We are around for 5 years. Infinite has done nothing but exceed the expectations. Huge shout out to all of you. Shout out to all the AlphaBlock members. Everyone that is not part of our community seeing this. Everyone that just will see this recording for the first time on YouTube. Anyone that is part of us. Love you all so much. Thank you. This has been a blast. 2-hour stream. You are the greatest. Thank you for the alpha, bro. See you soon.
See you soon, bro.